War looms as Simon Ekpa's Biafra government calls for self-defense against rising threats and terror in Biafra land. The Biafra government has officially passed a law allowing Biafrans to defend themselves by any means necessary. Biafra citizens are encouraged to match force with force against attackers, including acquiring equivalent or superior weapons for protection. This news update highlights brutal killings of innocent Biafrans, including women and children, by alleged terrorists, often with no intervention from authorities. The Biafra Liberation Army is mobilizing but cannot protect everyone at all times, making personal and community defense crucial. Some critics emphasizes that war is already happening in Biafra, even if some people fail to recognize it until violence reaches their own homes. They criticizes Western influence over African leaders, referencing NATO's alleged control and interference in African affairs. People are advised to take security measures like surveillance, setting up security cameras, and forming local defense groups. They draw comparisons to Libya's downfall, arguing that foreign interests manipulate African conflicts for their own gain. They argue that self-defense is a natural right given by God, seen in both human and animal instincts to survive and fight threats. Biafrans are urged to stop waiting for external help and take immediate action to protect their lives, families, and homeland. Bottom of form. Let me take you on a journey through some news that has been making waves lately. A story that I feel is both deeply personal and essential to share. Imagine waking up one day to find that your homeland, the place you call home, is suddenly at a crossroads, facing threats and dangers that no one ever thought would come so close. This is the story of Biafra today, a story of courage, of awakening, and of a community that is learning to defend itself in a world where external help isn't always guaranteed. I remember the first time I heard about the decision made by Simon Ekpa's government. It wasn't just another headline. It was a call to arms, a call to every single Biafran who cares about the safety of their family, friends, and neighbors. The government, after a long period of discussion and struggle, has officially passed a law that gives every Biafran the right to defend themselves by any means necessary. For a long time, the idea of self-defense was something we talked about in hushed tones, almost as if it were too dangerous to mention aloud. But now it has been given life in law, an affirmation that in these trying times, every Biafran has the right to stand up and protect what is theirs. I know many of you might be thinking, self-defense? Isn't that dangerous? Aren't we risking more violence? And I completely understand that hesitation. But imagine for a moment that you're at home, sitting with your family, when you hear the terrible sounds of gunfire outside or see news of innocent people being brutally attacked. In one of the states in Biafra, children, women, and men were mercilessly killed, murdered in cold blood by those who call themselves terrorists. The images are heartbreaking. It's the kind of tragedy that shakes you to the core. It is these very images and these real-life horrors that have pushed our leaders to make a decision. We must be ready to fight back. They say that if you face an enemy coming at you with an AK-47, you must be prepared to match that force, if not surpass it, to protect your life and the lives of those you hold dear. I remember sitting down with some friends over coffee, discussing what this law really meant for us. One of them said, "I never really understood what self-defense was until now. It's not just a theory, it's our lifeline." That idea struck me deeply because it made me realize that self-defense isn't about seeking violence for the sake of violence. It's about survival. It's about taking back control when those who should be protecting us are either unable or unwilling to step in. Our government is saying, in no uncertain terms, that every Biafran has the inalienable right to defend themselves, their homes, and their communities. And if the enemy comes, you must meet force with force. If they come with heavy weaponry, then you must have something equally capable of standing up to that threat. This isn't about escalation for the sake of escalation. It's about ensuring that we are not caught unprepared, that we are not made to suffer more loss while we wait for help that might never come. There's a deeply personal element to all of this. You see, many of us in Biafra have lived through times of instability. We've seen our communities ravaged by violence, and we've watched as our loved ones were hurt or worse because there was simply no one there to protect them. It's painful to recall those moments when helplessness reigned and fear was the only constant companion. Now, with this law in place, there is a spark of hope. A hope that we, as individuals and as communities, can stand up and change our fate. Imagine being able to look your children in the eyes and say, "I will protect you, no matter what." That's the kind of promise this law carries. But of course, not everyone sees this as a positive step forward. There are voices in our society who argue that war is already upon us, even if some people remain in denial until the violence touches their very doorstep. They say that the signs of war have been all around us, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to acknowledge them. And as if that weren't enough, there is also the matter of external influences. Many critics have pointed their fingers at Western powers and organizations like NATO, accusing them of meddling in African affairs and influencing our leaders in ways that do not always benefit us. They argue that these foreign interests are not here to help us build a peaceful future, but rather to exploit our resources and keep us in a cycle of dependency and conflict. I recall a conversation with a neighbor who is both wise and weary from years of political maneuvering. He told me, "The truth is, my friend, we cannot wait for the Western powers to decide our fate. If we don't stand up for ourselves, we will forever be at the mercy of outsiders." Those words resonated with me, and I began to understand that our struggle is not merely an internal matter. It is also about reclaiming our right to self-determination in the face of external manipulation. When someone tells you that self-defense is a crime, or that you are a terrorist for protecting your family, it's not just an attack on your actions, it's an attack on your very identity as a sovereign people. Our government has made it clear that self-defense is not only a right, but a duty to ensure that our land remains ours and that our people are safe from those who wish to destroy us. What struck me even more during my research into this topic was the way our leaders have tried to break down the concept of self-defense into something so simple that even those who are not politically savvy can understand it. They've told us that self-defense is not an abstract concept. It's as natural as the instinct to breathe. Just as animals in the wild fight back when threatened, whether it's a lion defending its pride or a small bird taking flight at the approach of a predator, we too have an innate right to protect ourselves. This idea is both empowering and humbling. It reminds us that deep down, every living creature has been given the ability to stand up for itself, to survive and to flourish despite the odds. I can still remember the intense emotion that gripped me when I watched videos of the tragedies unfolding in different parts of Biafra. It was as if the world had suddenly turned into a battleground where the innocent were caught in the crossfire. I saw children playing in the streets just moments before their lives were brutally ended by armed men who showed no mercy. I saw mothers with tears streaming down their faces, trying desperately to shield their children from the chaos around them. And amidst all this horror, the message from our government was clear: this can no longer be allowed. We must rise up, not with the aim of causing more bloodshed for its own sake, but with the determination to secure our future and ensure that such atrocities are never repeated. There is a certain urgency in this call for self-defense, a sense that we are living on borrowed time if we do not act now. Our Liberation Army, the force that many of us look to for salvation, is mobilizing as fast as it can. Yet, even as they gather and prepare to defend our land, there is an undeniable reality. They cannot be everywhere at once. The vastness of our region, with its many communities and towns, means that there will always be gaps, places where the enemy might strike before reinforcements can arrive. And that is why our leaders are urging every single Biafran to take up the mantle of self-defense. It is not enough to rely solely on a centralized military force when the danger could be lurking just outside your door. Every home, every neighborhood, every community center must become a fortress of protection where vigilance and preparedness are the norm. I think about the simple steps that many of us can take. Some have already started installing security cameras in their homes and neighborhoods. Others have formed small groups to keep an eye on their surroundings, ensuring that no suspicious activity goes unnoticed. It's a grassroots effort, a community coming together with a shared understanding that waiting for help is no longer an option. One of the most powerful images that comes to mind is that of a quiet, peaceful village suddenly transformed into a network of watchful eyes, each person aware of the need to protect not only themselves, but also their neighbors. There is something profoundly inspiring about that. It shows that despite the challenges we face, there is an unyielding spirit of resilience within us. At the same time, I know that the idea of arming oneself can be intimidating. It's not something that most of us ever imagined doing, especially if we've grown up believing that violence is always the answer to problems. But here we are, forced to confront a harsh reality where inaction can be as deadly as any weapon. I remember a moment of quiet reflection, sitting on my porch and watching the sunset, thinking about the sacrifices that may need to be made. It was then that I realized that defending our homes isn't about being aggressive for the sake of aggression. It's about survival. It's about having the strength to say that if an enemy comes to take away our way of life, we will fight back with everything we have. There is a common saying that the victors of yesterday become the victims of tomorrow. In our current climate, this feels more relevant than ever. Many in our community have seen the devastating consequences of inaction, how waiting until it's too late only leads to irreversible loss. It's a lesson that must be learned now so that no one has to experience the pain of watching a loved one fall victim to senseless violence. We must be proactive, not reactive. The law passed by Simon Ekpa's government is a step in that direction, a legal and moral affirmation that self-defense is not just acceptable, but essential. And while some may still argue that there is hope in waiting for the Liberation Army to arrive, the harsh truth is that help may not always be as timely as we need it to be. I know that many of you have concerns about the potential for this new law to spiral into more violence. It is a valid worry, and it's one that our critics often raise. They remind us that violence begets violence, and that by arming ourselves, we may inadvertently contribute to an endless cycle of bloodshed. But I ask you to consider this. What is the alternative? If we choose to remain passive, to believe that the situation will miraculously improve without our intervention, we are effectively surrendering our right to live in peace. Our leaders have made it clear that self-defense is not about aggression. It's about protecting life and property. It is about ensuring that when faced with an onslaught, every Biafran has the power to stand up and say, "I will not be a victim." I often think about the natural world and the lessons it teaches us about survival. Animals, regardless of their size or strength, have an innate instinct to defend themselves. A tiny bird will take evasive action at the slightest sign of danger, and even the most unassuming creature will muster the courage to fight for its life when threatened. This instinct is woven into the very fabric of life, and it is no different for us. We too have been given the capacity for self-defense, not by accident, but by design. Our ability to protect ourselves is a gift that we must not squander in times of crisis. In the spirit of this natural instinct, many community leaders are now urging everyone to take practical steps towards securing their homes and neighborhoods. It might sound simple, but sometimes it is the simplest measures that make the biggest difference. For example, setting up a basic surveillance system can alert you to potential threats long before they escalate. Neighbors can organize and take turns keeping watch over the area, ensuring that any signs of danger are met with swift action. It is this sense of collective responsibility that fills me with hope. A hope that despite the looming threats, we can come together and create a safer environment for ourselves and our children. I remember a conversation I had with a friend who had recently installed a set of security cameras around his house. He told me that it wasn't just about recording what was happening, it was about sending a message to anyone who might consider causing harm. When you have eyes everywhere, he said, you can't hide. That simple idea resonated with me because it speaks to a much larger truth. Security isn't just about physical barriers, it's about awareness and preparedness. It's about having the courage to take the first step, even if that step is small, because that small step might very well be the difference between safety and disaster. The reality we face in Biafra today is complex and multifaceted.
The government took a stand and a decision, and the bill was passed. The bill was passed to allow Biafrans to defend themselves by all means necessary. Self-defense. Self-defense is one of the things that Mazi Simon Ekpa came to interpret to us very well. For a very long time, so many of us do not know the meaning of self-defense. We hear the language, we speak it, we say it every now and then, but we don't know how to implement it. And so many of us do not know the effectiveness of self-defense or how you can apply it or make use of it. That has always been the problem. But in the era of our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, he was able to break it down to the lowest level that even no matter what be your level of understanding, you begin to understand what self-defense is. Self-defense has been explained on several occasions, all the way from Mazi Nandekan to Mazi Simon Ekpa. But today that we have a government, United States government, it has been passed into law that every Biafran should have it at the back of your hand. That is a right that belongs to you that you must not give out. Self-defense. In defending yourself, you must make sure you use everything at your reach that you can afford to defend yourself. You must use everything at your reach to counter the enemy that is coming against your life. I said everything. Depending on what the enemy is coming with, you will have to meet force with equal force to defend yourself. If the enemy is coming against you with AK-47, please get AK-47 on something higher to defend yourself. If the enemy is coming against you with AK-45, with all kind of machine gun, if you have yours, if you have access to get yours, don't hesitate to do that. Don't wait for government. Don't wait for anybody to give you an approval. Today, the government has signed it into bill and the law that every Biafran has the right to defend themselves to the highest level. This message has been preached again and again and again, but it has been passed to law by the United States of Biafra government, so that Biafrans will know that that is their right, and they will use that right and apply it effectively at this particular point in time where it's needed. That law is very important. When you see what is happening in Biafra land today, so many of you have seen what transpired in Enugu State. You saw how the children of Biafrans lost their life in the hand of the terrorists without any single protection from anybody. It is heartbreaking. If you watch those videos and you don't shed tears, you are not human. See the horrible videos that are coming out from Enugu State on how the children of Biafrans lost their life. They were murdered in cold blood. Innocent children, innocent women, innocent men, unarmed people Some of them who were worshiping in a church on Sunday, the enemy came and took their life. When you hear the story that follows the events, how people are coming to testify of how they warned the government and the military and told them that these people are planning to attack this village, with all the informations, with all the warning, nobody made any move to protect them. Instead of giving them that defense, they were told to go home and sleep, to stand down, that nothing will happen, without any form of defense. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. It is not the third time. And if nothing is being done, it will not be the last. It is only those of us who are not following up events that will see this and you think it is the first time. This is not the first time this is happening in Biafra land. It is not the first time. It was only curtailed when the Liberation Army were alerted on time and they were close. But I want you to know that the Liberation Army of Biafra has limitation of where they will be at every particular point in time. None of us is ignorant of the capacity that we have as of now. None of us can pretend that you don't know the capacity of what we can do as now, as a government, because we have not gotten total control of our land. The battle we are fighting is enormous. We are being distracted by the terrorists in uniform. We are being distracted by the terrorists off uniform. We are being distracted by the non-state actors that are employed by the government. We are being distracted by some of them who claim to be with us and they're not with us. There are different kinds of distractions. And that is why it has become very necessary that every single Biafran must rise up and arm themselves to defend themselves. You must do that. I don't know how you're going to do it. I don't care how you do it. We are talking about our life. Die with honor, not like a slave. It is better to die fighting than for you to sit back and somebody will chop off your head, take your life of your children and your family member, and you'll be watching. And by the way, if you fight, you die. If you don't fight, you will die. So why don't you give the fight and die like a hero? If you listen to the video I played at the first time, the strategies of Fulanis is that you cannot have peace with them. Mazen Nandekon called it the devil's alternative. On the video I played when I was studying, Mazen Nandekon called it the devil alternative. It does not matter what you do or how you do it, they must come. If you go for peace, they will take your life. If you go for a fight, you might lose your life. So it is better. The only place you even stand a chance of surviving is to go and face them. It is being said that the best form of defense is attack. Wherever you are in Biafra land, when we come and we say there is a war going on in Biafra land, some of you do not understand it. We have said it on a serious note. We have said it with humor. Men and women have said it, even in their conventional media. But yet, some of us are not taking it serious. You are waiting until you lose a member of your family before you understand that there is war. You are waiting until it gets to your doorstep in your own village before you understand there is a war. You are waiting until it happens to somebody you know before you will now believe and accept that there is a war. The earlier you begin to learn from other people's mistakes, the better for you. That is the only way you stand the chance of survival. The only way you stand the chance of survival is learning from what happened to others. If you continue to pretend that all is well, I want you to remember, the victors of yesterday are victims today. The victors of today will be victims tomorrow. And it will continue. Just for the fact that it has not happened to you today doesn't mean it will not happen to you tomorrow. Just for the fact that it has not happened to your village today doesn't mean it will not get there tomorrow. The government has done what they have to do. And that does not mean that the government are not putting up their defense. The Liberation Army of Biafra are mobilizing and mobilizing and mobilizing more and more. The United States of Biafra is mobilizing the Liberation Army, increasing their bounds and also recruiting more people. But you have to know that we have a limitation to what we can do. We have about 40 states. That 40 states must be covered. The Liberation Army cannot be everywhere at every time. And that is why you must be prepared. You must be prepared. Self-defense is your right. It is your right. It is not as if you are doing something that is illegal. Self-defense is completely legal, supported by international law. African Peoples and Human Rights Law supports self-defense. Even Nigerian Zoological Republic supports self-defense on their own. And I'm going to play some videos to show you that they too support self-defense. But when it comes to Biafrans, they make you feel that defending yourself is a crime. They will call you a terrorist for defending yourself. They will call you a secessionist for defending yourself. They will label you different kinds of names to intimidate you so that you can allow yourself.
That the NATO called them and said they should go back. These NATO people are not Africans. Africa is not a member of NATO. But NATO called them and said they should turn back and not go from that very meeting. They want to go because they want to stop what the West want to do in Libya or whatever. Then the East African president turned back, did not go for that meeting. So this president was saying that now NATO control the East African president, tell them not to go for a meeting to discuss what is in their own land on how to handle it. So the NATO, Europe, the West, tell them you cannot discuss what is in your house. So that is what is happening in our place. And today, when they kill Libya and destroy Libya, what is happening today? Today, everywhere is full of evil in every Sahara region. That was caused by the NATO people because they know the truth and they refuse to do the right thing. So that is what is happening in Biafra land. So until the people of the Biafra people who think they want power by all means, who think they are hate, who think they are jealous, who you are arresting them, instead you give them power. If you see them, kill them. That is why they see a young man who was running his bike, and they just carry a bullet and roll on the ground, and they accuse him of dropping those bullets. Where those people drop it? But their strategy has been that if you see them, any man, any youth, kill him. So they see that guy running a bike without nothing on his hand, only that his bike and his dog. They stop him, flog him to death, and they make sure they kill him. They shot him and kill his dog. And maybe take away his bike. And the Igbo governors watch those videos, none of them make comment today. Because if you watch what that guy said after when you kill that guy, you say, you don't know what we are asked to do. They say, yes, that's what we are asked to do. So they were asked, if you see them, kill them. Even when they don't have knife, they don't have gun, they don't have even a catapult or stone on their hand to throw. Kill kill them. That was the assignment. And on the president of that particular place, say, is that not what we agreed? They say, yes, that is what they agreed. To do what? To kill without even any reason. Don't you see a young man who is fit? Kill him. He is a Biafra. He is a security network. And he is IPOB. Kill him. That is what justified them. So you see that this law that is passed yesterday, we need it for defense. Because maybe somebody might see them when they were killing that guy and he has a bullet or has his gun. He might hide and bring somebody down. And when they bring someone down, they run. They will not attack somewhere. You will see them run for their life. Maybe that guy will not have died. But because nobody can let them anywhere, they don't have arms. If they see people who have arms, they will run. They beat him at the end of the day, they kill him and they say that is what we agreed to do. So this law that passed yesterday is a law that Biafra will need now and also in the future. So that is my own take on this that very law that passed yesterday. And my prayer is, let God grant us success. Let God grant the Biafrans peace and more wisdom, because it's the only wisdom that we can achieve. For me, I'm telling you, this battle for Biafra is already won. The battle we are fighting now are people that doesn't want this Biafra to come. They show their harassers and the so-called Eastern governors and those inside us that are sabotaging what is happening. If had it been, let us say that somebody after he was invited and the house was still complete, do you know what would have been happening by now? By now the whole world must have come and be talking.
Exactly. Yes, of course they will have come.
But somebody rise up and say because he wants to be in power. So that his position is what Biafra is suffering. And some people and the men on the ground are buying it because they save money or no money. And which that money the Biafrans are contributing. And my prayer every day, the last prayer I always pray, let the land of Biafra judge everybody and every secrets that is holding Biafra. Thank you for now.
Thank you so much, my beloved brother, for that amazing contribution you have made. It is quite on point and your explanation is very clear. For anybody who wants to save himself to begin to prepare, we must get ready to save our lives. We cannot continue to fold our hands and pretend all is well, or you fold your hand and continue to put all your faith and wait for the Liberation Army to come. Before they come, you must have to do certain things for yourself. That is why in medicine there is something they call first aid. When they talk about first aid, when somebody have an accident, people must have to try as much as possible to give that person first aid so that at least the person can survive before you go to the hospital. That idea of first aid is something that every human being must know. There are certain things you must know as an ordinary person to secure and protect yourself for the meantime, at least, before you get to the right place. That same first aid you give to medical issues when you are sick, before you go to the hospital. Now that we are talking about security, you must learn how to provide your own self some security before the main man arrives. Before reinforcement arrive, we must learn one or two things on how to secure ourselves, how to protect ourselves, how to protect our families, how to protect our children and our sisters before the forces of Biafra will come upon. It is very important. And in doing that, in most cases, you cannot do that with ordinary hand. You must begin to think about how to manufacture something or somehow, a buffer for yourself, manufacture something to protect your family, manufacture something to defend your own home, manufacture something to put a stop to invaders to your area. You can do that as an individual. People can do that as a community. You can do that as a group to monitor your environment, to monitor your area, to make sure that no invader invades your area. when we talk about security, there are so many things you can do to secure yourself. There are so many things you can put in place, including installing security cameras everywhere, all around you. We know that in the zoo, there is no light to be able to operate security cameras, but there are some security cameras that can also use solar. There are some security cameras also that can use battery that can last some times. At this critical point in time, at strategic places, you can mount cameras privately by yourself in strategic places in your place where only you will know, so that you can see these people when they are coming, and you prepare yourself to take them out before they get to you. These are strategies that people can do on their own. There are things you can do for yourself. You can derive a means or mechanism to monitor your own self, monitor your house, monitor your area, monitor your family, and make sure things are in order. Put things in order so that you can take these people out before they take you out. Nobody is going to come for you. Nobody, if you don't do something, nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody anywhere is going to do it for you. And we must begin to prepare ourselves, and prepare very, very well. If you think this is a time to joke, it is not time to joke. We're in a time of war. We're in a time of war. Many people have spoken about this war in different kinds of way that you can understand. And yet, some of us are taking it for a joke. Many people have spoken about it in a serious mood. Many people have spoken about it with jokes. Many people have used different kinds of techniques to make sure that this information is passed. But yet, some of us have refused to pay attention, even though it is with emotion. It is very, very important. For those who don't understand Igbo language, he is encouraging everyone to tell the people the truth. Let them know there is war in Biafra territory, and that is the truth. Tell the people the true situation of things, that there is war. The war is already there. It is not a question that it is coming. When Mazim Nandikan was preaching the coming of this today, he preached and preached, and some people called him a false prophet. Some called him a warmonger. They gave him different kinds of names. This message that this guy preached that I just played here, he made the message with humor. Some of us, we are very sentimental. We can get angry. Why is he talking about Christians? But you can agree with me that 80% of Biafrans are Christians. Good number of Biafrans, they are Christians. And most of the time when this life has been lost, many of them are Christians. The one that just happened now, you saw choosing church being attacked. Why are you not letting people know that there is war ongoing? Why are you shying away from telling people to defend and protect themselves? Why are you giving people false faith? There's never a time Chukwu Okikabiyama told you not to protect yourself. That is why Chukwu Okikabiyama have created us in his own image and put in us signs and signals and brain to make use. Chukwu Okikabiyama equally gave us self-defense. Chukwu Okikabiyama himself planted self-defense in human being. He put it in us. It is left for you to activate it. Not only in human being, everything Chukwu Okikabiyama created, he put self-defense in them. That is why when you catch an animal, you want to kill an animal, that animal will fight you. When you meet an animal in a dangerous place, the animal say that you are a danger, the animal will fight you or escape. Including plants, ordinary plants. When you plant crop, or anything you plant, and that plant is coming out and you saw that there is a stumbling block, either you put a block on it or there is something on top that doesn't allow that plant to grow, the plant will take another direction and come up. The plant will take another direction. Even if it's a flower, plant a seed, and you take something like block, put on top of that seed that will not grow, it must surely come out. It will look for another means and escape. That is self-defense. In animals, every animal that Chukwu Okikabiyama have created, no matter how slow they are, no matter how fast they are, no matter how big they are, no matter how small, they all have self-defense mechanism that whenever they are threatened, they can fight back. Whenever they are threatened, if Chukwuokike can create animals, create plants, and give them that very, put that very makings of self-defense in them, put self-defense in every one of them. If Chukwuokike, if God can put that self-defense in the other thing that he created, how much more you that he has created in his own image, giving you brain, giving you senses, giving you wisdom and common sense. Why do you think that you cannot activate your own self-defense that he has given you and make use of it? Animals are using their own. Immediately you threaten them, they are going to use it. Plants are using their own. Immediately you threaten them, they are going to use it. Why is it that you, that is a human being created in the image of God, cannot activate your own self-defense? You are still waiting for Chukwuokike to come down from heaven and send angels to come and fight for you. It will never happen. It will not happen. Chukwuokike cannot send legion of angels to come and fight a battle on this planet. He will not do so. He will not. Because he has given you the wisdom, the knowledge, the mechanism to protect and defend yourself at any point in time. If you refuse to activate that self-defense, it is your business. You are going to die. It doesn't matter how righteous you are. You are going. It does not matter how righteous you are. You must learn how to use your own self-defense. Everything that Chukwuokike created, he placed in them self-defense. Why is it that the people, the reverend fathers, the pastors, the imam, the rabbis, the native doctors, why are you people not telling people the right truth to activate that self-defense that Chukwuokike have given them to defend themselves? Why are you still allowing people to depend on where there is no hope? Putting their hope on where there is no hope. There are things you can do for yourself to defend yourself. Today, the United States of Biafra government is reminding you once again, reminding you that it is time for you to rise and defend yourself. Anything you can lay your hand upon, anything, no matter how small, no matter how big, no matter how strong, no matter how sophisticated, that you can lay your hand upon, get one to defend yourself. Die like a hero with honor. Do not die like a slave. Die with your head lifted up. Don't die with your head bowed to the enemy. Why are you people not saying the right word? Every one of us that is watching this program today, we have to carry this message, share this message to everyone. Very, very important. The United States of Biafra government has ordered everybody, passed a law for you to activate the self-defense in support of the government. That does not mean that the Liberation Army will not do their job. The Liberation Army are preparing heavily. The decentralization is still ongoing. The recruitment is still ongoing. Building the forces of Biafra is ongoing. But in doing that, every hand must be on deck to defend and protect our land. Most importantly, to secure our life. The primary objective of every government is to save life and property. Every one of us must rise up. Stop waiting. Stop waiting. May Chukwuokike continue to be with us and direct us right. As we are rounding up on this program, my beloved brother Greg, if you're still there, please kindly give us a closing remark and word of encouragement to Biafrans as we close the program.
Yes, thank you so much, brother. We will continue. The video you showed just now remind me, when we are talking about self-defense, some people don't understand the self-defense. The self-defense is supposed to be in every single in the family, in the business, and in the community. So, in every church, the church have to equip their own security. Anytime church is going on, on Sunday, then they normally have service on ordinary day, they will not lack security. And they will make sure they have light and security camera. And they equip those security people with gun. Not every churches in Nigeria go and need the government to send them gun for them to equip their security. That's number one. Number two, let every market, main market or change also, let market, let our market, let every market, every organization in Nigeria have a security to protect themselves and have gun to protect themselves from the Fulanis. And not only gun, let every market in Igbo land open boreholes in every four corner of those business places. Since the government cannot provide them fire arms equipment for any fire outbreak, let them open every four corner of that places, boreholes and tanks and very long pipe, and be ready in case if there is any fire outbreak. They will pump water and use and form with what do you call it, fire extinguisher on their own, because the government is not ready to help them to do that. They have so much money because in every market chairman, they will not only be stealing money from the money people contribute, only for going to burials. They have to use that money for themselves and they equip themselves with gun and prepare for any fire outbreak. They open boreholes and tanks. They don't wait for government to come and bring them fire extinguisher before if there is any market that is having problem for them to use it and quench those fires. They will equip themselves with those firearms, so that even if the nobody is there, the security will be able to use those fire extinguisher, natural fire extinguisher they build on their own with those boreholes and quench fires if there is any eventuality. And certainly the church will do, because government of Nigeria is 100% not ready to help any of them. So let them start opening boreholes in their business, in their markets to prepare for any eventuality of fire. Not every time we'll be hearing the market be born, or there's a born, there's nobody will be able to quench it. But if they do, there's put boreholes. Not in knowledge, 700,000 can make boreholes. 1 million, 2 million can make boreholes in every part of our Chanja, or in China market, or in Port Harcourt, in nowhere. Those things they will get themselves, but not every time the same market be born, and this one born, and then there was no fire extinguisher. Nobody will help them. So our people start applying self-defense in everything, the more better. And that reminds me again, because when we are talking about the churches in our homeland, like a Catholic church and every other church, when we blame the pastors and the priests because they are not speaking out, we might say yes, they are not speaking out because they are afraid of the government in the grant of any eventuality. But what about our pastors and the priests that are living in the Western world? If you come like in Germany here, almost half of the priests now, our places, if we don't have more, if we have more than 1,000 self. And all these priests, they don't mix less privileged people. And what I mean by not mixing, I mean they have opportunity to meet the people in power in this land. They have opportunities. Most of the priests here have opportunity to meet the senates, the people of the house in every government, because they go to anything they do. This is a Christian land. So everything they do, once in a while they go to church. Either for government public holiday or government whatever, they will invite those priests who will come and hand them to celebrate mass or church or whatever. So they are in a position to be talking about Biafra as well. They are in a position to tell the world what is happening in their land, but they are not doing it. They are not doing it because they don't want. I don't know. I cannot understand the reason why they are not telling their congregation what is happening in their land. Those ones living in America, those ones living in Germany, in France, in London, most of them come here to study, they go to parishes, they vote their parishes, and their people don't know what is happening in the land where they're coming from. And every morning, every Sunday, every mass they celebrate our church, they will pray for the war in Ukraine, and they will pray for war in, in Palestine and Israel. And they forget to tell about the war that is going on in their own land. They don't pray for Congo, they don't pray for the Biafra, they don't pray for Cameroon, but they will always pray for for Ukraine and for Palestinian, because these are where the white people are dying. And they're not bringing these things, what is happening in their land, to the people who they are, to their congregations. If maybe a priest is having an opportunity to celebrate something like the chancellor of this country, because they have the opportunity, they have the 100% opportunity, and he said, pray for my land. My land is on the trouble just like Ukraine. Then they will sit back and say, where do you come from? Because you are people who are very, very interested to ask that kind of question. Where is such an issue? They ask him, where do you come from? He said, I'm in Nigeria, I'm in Biafra. They will start questioning from there, they will start knowing what is happening in your land. But some of our priests here are not doing it. Instead, some of them will be cajoling people who are fighting for the freedom of his people. And telling them that is doing bad or somebody is doing bad, and killing people, supporting what the Nigerian evil government is telling them, which is not right. So I want to use the opportunity to send this message to them that are living in the world, outside Nigeria. Let them bring up the message to their pulpit and tell the world what is happening in their land. And I want to encourage our government, the other government, that every time they have some negotiations, some of those reverend fathers, those pastors, those reverend sisters who offer themselves in this service, every time they are going for any negotiation, let them include them. Let them go on their attire as a priest and a reverend sister, the pastor, whatever. Let them include them. Let them go there and speak. Yes, I am a priest. What this government is saying about what is happening in my land is true. And that is why I include myself to come and see you as a senator, for you to know that I am a priest. I'm serving so place. It's not a name for them. So what is happening in our land is true. So the government is supposed to be including them. Even if they are not a member of the government, minister or whatever. But every time they want to go for those kind of negotiations, let them invite them to accompany them to go. That is what I'm putting to the government today as a suggestion. Thank you, and God should bless us and give us more strength and more courage to come and speak up for what is happening in our land. That is the area we can participate and afford. In the moment we cannot carry gun because we are not in the room to carry gun. And those who are carrying gun, I will always ask them, think before you volunteer yourself as a Biafra to fight with gun. Think very, very well. Am I going to carry this gun against my brother or my sister, or to betray? Think very, very well. And God will be your strength and the strength of the people in any area they are contributing. That is my prayer this morning. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, my beloved brother. I appreciate you for that amazing contribution. Thank you so much. You have spoken well, and you have made a very great suggestion this morning, and I believe that the members of the cabinet are listening, and I believe that people of the world are also listening. Our brothers and sisters that are serving as clergy outside Nigeria, we have a lot of clergy men and women that are serving in the United States, in the UK, in all parts of the world, all states of the world. We have in the West, we have our people serving as clergy. They should not just leave out this job. There is nothing, it's not criminal to ask for freedom. Fighting for your freedom, in fact, is one of the religious things you must do. is one of the greatest religious things you must do, is to fight for the freedom of your people and let them get free. So they should join also and make their voice heard, and the government will equally invite them where necessary to help and talk to the people who matters in their area, to the authorities that they can be able to reach, to speak about the situation, not only praying for Western world, praying for Western countries while we are here losing. And my brother made a very good point. Most times you see people praying for Ukraine, but they don't talk about Amazonia. They don't talk about Biafra. More people are dying in Amazonia and in Biafra than in Ukraine. There is more attack and more frustration in Ukraine than in Amazonia. But you will never see all these African countries or African bishops or whatever living abroad talking about or reminding in prayer. But they are very quick to remember other people. It is sad. And we have to change that kind of ideology. We have to change that narrative. We have to begin to think about our own. Begin to present our case before the whole world. If you don't talk about it, nobody's going to talk about it. If you don't speak up for yourself, nobody will do. That is how the world operates. It doesn't matter what you are suffering. Once you don't make a step to say something, nobody's going to listen to you. I welcome my beloved brothers. I see Apostle Stephen and my brother Maxwell just joined us while we are almost even getting done. So my brother Maxwell, go on and speak after you. Then Apostle Steve will now take the stage. My brother Max, can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you so much. And good morning to you. Good morning to my two brothers in the studio. Good morning to each and every one of you in the comment section. Like and share so that others will have the privilege to watch it and join us as well. And may God bless each and every one of you for what you are doing. Mazen Namdekano, Simon Ekpa, the Prime Minister, our men on the ground, the Biafran Liberation Army or Defense Force, everyone that is contributing one way or the other to secure that gracious land. May God continue to bless you as you do that. Those that are also contributing, may Chukwu Kikabiyama provide for you more so that you will give out to sustain the fight. You see, I just want to go straight to what my brother was saying. You see, the Nigerian system has made it in such a way that they have incapacitated you and, made your enemy that they are colluding with. The enemy that T.Y. Danjuma spoke about that they are covering and so on and so forth. More deadlier than our people, no matter how we do it. There is no way on this earth that you are going to challenge a man who is bearing 30 rounds of ammunition, live 7.62 mm caliber, NATO specified, that is AK-47, that has a killing range of 300 meters. I've been saying this. And a traveling range of 1.8 kilometers, 1,800 meters. Against someone who is carrying a pump action gun. It is suicidal.
Absolutely.
We discussed this thing the other day in Sister Linda TV show. You and I, we were talking about this in Massachusetts. Yes. It's better that you do not go. That is what Nigeria has done. They knew that by the time they take out even that pump action that you have from you, you are empty, you are unable to defend yourself and anybody that is around you. How do they issue licenses? How do they issue licenses for people to bear arms? And the arm that they're going to give you doesn't have a travel distance of up to 100 meters. Pump action is about 75 meters. It doesn't go far. It is only meant to hunt games. That's all. That's all. Or what we call close quarter battle. The bullet, the rifles that are made for sophistications is AK-47, FN rifles, G3s, and the rest of them. general purpose machine gun. These are the ones that are made for professionals. And this is the thing these people are using to come after us. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? You see, I will advise our people, no matter how hard it is painful that the Nigerian system had made us, very, very soft and docile through their policies. I would have loved a situation where our people will be able to carry the equivalent of what these people are also carrying.
Absolutely, that's what we want.
The equivalent of that was what Ned Nwoko was campaigning for. Let everybody bear arms. Equivalent to what you cannot be carrying arrow, then I'm carrying knife, cutlass. When you shoot your arrow will fly to come and meet you. But it is only when I get closer to you that my knife will be effective on you. Our people, no matter how hard it is, there is a way we can do it. But these people, once they discover that you are also equipped in that manner, they will now call in their security in uniform, the terrorists in uniform, to come and begin to ransack the whole place to pick it. But you will know how to handle them if you have one. Keep it safe if you have one. Use it decisively if you have one. This killing can no longer go on. The people they killed in the church, our people have refused to understand the system that is going on in Nigeria. In the Yoruba land, Oduduwa land, they went inside a church, I've forgotten the name of that place, and killed people in that church. They tied a lot of people in that church in Yoruba land.
Yes.
That made a talking point, that became a talking point of the world in the news and so on and so forth. Our people, were you sleeping? Our people in our land, were you sleeping? Don't you know that thing that has affected that particular place will also come to us depending on how these people roll?
Definitely.
They are being facilitated. They have an agenda that they are carrying out and they want to carry out. Are we going to wait until the Biafra Defense Force alone do the whole thing for us? What is the population? What is the strength of our people? You have to do something to help them. Because I said, was it 2 days ago, that there is no way they will be at every point in Biafra land every time, because they are not spirit. They are not spirit. If you see the way these our people operate with the bigger resources that is within their disposal, you will know that these people are putting extra force to do what they are doing. They need to be supported by your own actions. Even if you are able to get the pump action, use it on defensive mode. I know when they fire, it will come. But how tactical are you to defend them, to defend yourself? Look for something stronger that can protect you. I'm giving you this thing because this killing is too much. This killing is too much. If you are holding that pump action and you are 4 or 5, when you see these people coming, do not, attack them. Allow the people that are there for them to run away. Allow the people that are there for them to run away. Do not allow them for them to excuse you from that particular place if possible. And take a very solid cover. Take a very solid cover. Because that bullet you are having, you see there they are firing. Anything below 200 meters or 100 meters, it will penetrate into a 5 inches block and go through the other side. That thing is within the killing range. It will penetrate and pass the other side. And when you see them, they are carrying such weapons, those automatic rifles. Please, my people, find a very solid cover. Remember also that it's hard, it's difficult for bullets to capture anyone that is lying down on the ground. And when you are lying down on the only time that you will have advantage of them is when they come close. And remember that the pump action that you have is in cartridges. It goes in cartridges, not in balls. It sprays because of the balls that are in it. It sprays. It sprays. It has a radius. But the AK-47 is a ball that is coming to you, single bullet that is coming to you, but very deadly. But it will be very, very difficult for bullets like that to capture anyone that is on the ground. Lie down and defend yourselves. If you have more, they will go away. Rather, maybe you can even get some of them. Our people need to be trained. This is how they are training even their wives, their women in the forest. I do not know how our people will be trained on how to manipulate these things and use the environment that you find yourself to your own advantage. It's not easy. It is not easy, but you can do it because life is involved. Life is involved. You have to save yourself first before you save your neighbor. If you are unable to save yourself, your life is at risk and that of your neighbor is at risk as well. That is the reason why I do not know the level of weaponry that they have that they can use to defend themselves. I will suggest that if they are carrying AK-47, equip yourself with AK-47.
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.